Hello everybody, Jolt here from the Token Minorities, and I'm bringing you the Week 1 matchup of the NPL, the National Pokeball League. I made a video about this a few days ago, describing what this league is all about, so if you did miss that video, definitely scroll back in our previous videos and check that out so you kind of have a little bit more information on what's going on here. But my team is called the Toronto Staraptors, and this is my Week 1 matchup against the New York Metangs. I'll go ahead and scroll over to the tab that shows his potential mons. He had these 11 Pokemon to choose from: Mew, Mienshao, Snorlax, Greninja, which I know is Uber, but it is allowed at this time in the league because it was drafted last season when it was not Uber, so it is allowed. And then Dragonite, Scizor, Florges, Weezing, Gastrodon, Raikou, and Mega Steelix. So with my team that I showed in my previous video, I had to basically plan for these 11 Pokemon in the best way that I could. And at a glance, my matchup is pretty terrible. He has obviously Greninja, which isn't Uber, and then he has the Mew, which can do literally anything, as it can learn any TM, any HM, etc. Then he has Dragonite, which is just a fantastic Pokemon in general. He has Scizor, which is the top of OU, and he has Raikou, which actually, surprisingly, has super effective coverage against the majority of my team. So he ended up bringing Raikou, Greninja, Mew, Dragonite, Mienshao, and Snorlax, which is a very difficult matchup for me, even considering what I brought. But just to kind of walk you through my team at team preview, I have a Vaporeon that is EV'd such that no 2 attacks from any type of Greninja is able to hit KO me. So basically, my Vaporeon is my Greninja counter, and as such, it is the first Pokemon that I put on my team. Secondly, I added the Mega Venusaur to my team, as nothing on his team can take a Leech Seed, so the goal with Mega Venusaur is basically going to be to have a Leech Seed up at all times while in play. And Mega Venusaur is going to be my win condition in this game, because if you look at what he has, unless this is an annoying taunt Mew, like a taunt Wisp Mew or something like that, Mega Venusaur is going to put in a lot of work, even if Raikou has extra sensory. The Azelf is just a standard suicide lead Azelf. I knew that Stealth Rocks were going to be very important in finding success in this game, so I brought in Azelf with Stealth Rocks, Explosion, Taunt, and I believe Fire Blast in my last slot. Whatever it wasn't used in this game, so it's not important. And then with my 4th mon, I brought Alakazam with a Focus Sash, and I did this because my team is really easy to set up on. Let's be honest here, my team is very bulky, and it relies on setting up itself. So what I ended up doing is running the Focus Sash on Alakazam with coverage moves such that I could hit the majority of his team for super effective damage. The Focus Sash mainly was put there because I was scared of Dragon Dance Dragonite, and hence my Alakazam actually has Hidden Power Ice. With my 5th slot, I brought Volcarona because his entire team is indeed weak to Volcarona. His only real counter to it is the Snorlax. So if I'm able to remove the Snorlax early, I'm going to be in really good shape. So that's kind of the plan there. I do have Hidden Power Ice on the Volcarona as well for the Dragonite, so that is not a switch in. Mew is obviously going to be drilled by a Bug Buzz, and the majority of his team just takes a ton of damage from it. So yeah, and then in my final slot, I brought a sub Dragon Dance Gyarados. Mainly, just I don't know. I was kind of hoping that it would do more than it actually does in this game. Just because with the Intimidate ability, he is able to force switches pretty well, and I figured behind a substitute and after a +1 or even a +2 boost, I'd be able to put in a lot of work against this team. Okay, so let's just jump into the battle here. He leads off with his Mienshao, which I immediately am suspecting as being either choiced or life orbed, and I don't see the life orb damage on turn 1, so now I have it narrowed down to either a choice Scarf or choice Bandit set, and that damage tells me choice Scarf. So I know we have a choice Scarf Mienshao to worry about, and he just U-turns into his Snorlax as I set up the Stealth Rocks and just explode in its face. And I don't see the leftovers here on Snorlax, so I am anticipating that it is a choice version or it's going to be a Resto Chesto version. And just in case it was a Resto Chesto, I was going to go for a substitute on that turn and perhaps get up a Dragon Dance following his rest, such that I believe I can 2-hit KO or 3-hit KO the Snorlax after a Dragon Dance with Waterfall, but that didn't quite go as planned. But here, I know the Volcarona is my only real switch into the Raikou, so that's the play I have to make, and unfortunately he just goes for the Volt Switch there, which puts me in a tough position, but I do have the counter to Greninja in my Vaporeon, so I'm able to go just straight into that here and eat up that Rock Slide, revealing that this is going to be a physical Greninja that I'm going to be dealing with and that is very important information to have because that means that Mega Venusaur likely is going to be an additional counter to this Greninja later in the game. Here I am very terrified of the Mew because I don't know what kind it is, but he doesn't give me any information on that, so not much I can really do in that case. But here he goes into his Mienshao, and I do have the counter to this, knowing that it is a Choice Scarf variant, so I just go straight into my Mega Venusaur, and I'm able to get off those precious Leech Seeds. And here I'm going to, I believe, take this as an opportunity to go straight into my Volcarona, just in case he wanted to go into his Dragonite, because again, I am very scared of the Dragonite, and I don't want it to have any opportunity to set up a Swords Dance. But it turns out he just, or not Swords Dance, a Dragon Dance rather, but it turns out he just goes for the Stealth Rocks, which definitely upset me, considering I did not bring a Defogger in this particular matchup, mainly because he only had 2 potential Stealth Rock users in Mega Steelix and in this Mew, and I actually expected him to not bring the Stealth Rock. So I was very sad to see that, but it's fine. It's not going to hinder me too much in the end, and you'll see that later. But here we are in the Raikou v Venusaur matchup, and he has the Leech Seeds on him, so he definitely doesn't want to stay in. He's just going to Volt Switch out into his Mew, and I'm totally okay with this. I'm just going to go for the Sludge Bomb and hope for that poison damage, because all I really need is the poison on the Mew, and then the combination of poison damage plus Leech Seed is going to make Venusaur basically an unstoppable threat for this Mew to deal with. Here it reveals the Psyshock, which is going to be his only offensive move on this Mew, which again just verifies that this Mew is not going to be a threat. It'll just be a nuisance at the most to remove from the game. But I'm just going to basically use it as an opportunity for my Venusaur to get itself up to full health, and I'll just start spamming Sludge Bombs here soon, just to again go for that Sludge Bomb poison, the standard poison damage, because again, with the combination of the poison and the Leech Seed, I'm going to be in pretty darn good shape against this Mew. There I just go for the Synthesis, just in case he wanted to try to pull a double into perhaps his Raikou if it was a Choice Specs version or a Expert Belt version. I wanted to be at maximum health possible. And here I finally get the poison, but he does get off the Defog, which is pretty bad, because now he's able to just go straight into his Dragonite, and I believe I made the play predicting that. I did. I go straight into my Volcarona, again, because I'm fearing the Dragon Dance setup. And here, even if he has the Weakness Policy, I don't care, because I do have the Alakazam with the Focus Sash in the back. Now, I'm going to pause here. This play is actually very, very important. He's at 70%. And at this point, I'm assuming it's a fully offensive Dragonite, so no bulk investment whatsoever. 252 attack, 252 speed, maybe 4 HP. Okay, he is at 70%. And my Volcarona has 0 special attack investment, but it does have HP Ice. So I ran a calc on this, and it turns out that the minimum damage from this Hidden Power Ice on a fully offensive Dragonite is 69%. Okay? And if we observe what happens here on this turn, he lives at 1%. So I got a minimum roll on this Hidden Power Ice. Now this is important because now my Volcarona is going to be, I'm going to be forced to sack my Volcarona here. Basically in hopes that he will activate my Flame Body. This is my secondary option against this Dragonite, but if he doesn't activate my Flame Body, I'm going to be forced to waste the Focus Sash on my Alakazam, which is going to be really, really crucial later in this game. So he does recover a little bit of health with leftovers, and then just goes for that second Outrage and takes out the Volcarona and does not activate my Flame Body. So now I'm getting a little bit nervous, but I know that I still have my win condition in the back in Mega Venusaur. So here I'm going to obviously be dropped down to my Focus Sash, and then I'm just going to remove the Dragonite with the Psychic. I didn't want to reveal HP Ice, just because, I don't know, there really wasn't a point. It didn't really matter in at this time, but here he just goes into his Mienshao. Obvious U-turn is obvious. I'm just going into Venusaur anyways, because he really doesn't have a switch in to the Venusaur, so the best thing he really has is this Mew apparently, although I really don't agree with that either. But yeah, he's just going to try to get his health back. But it's futile at this point because I do have the Leech Seeds, and he is poisoned, so he's not going to be doing much aside from getting up his Stealth Rock. And here I just go for this secondary Leech Seed just in case he wanted to pull the switch into the Raikou, as at this point I felt like that was his only real chance at removing this Venusaur. But he doesn't make that play. He instead just sets up the rocks and continues to try to get himself up to a high amount of HP. so this part is a little bit stally, and I apologize for that, but I am able to, I believe, remove it right here with the Sludge Bomb and Leech Seed combo. So Baby Jesus goes down, so that's nice. But here, I am worried about the Raikou, but I wanted to scout for the damage on that extra sensory, and the 40.2% tells me that this is a timid Raikou, and it is not choice spec. So I'm assuming now that it is going to be an Assault Vest variant, unless it is just some random, like a Shookaberry set, I don't know. But yeah, so now we're working with an Assault Vest Raikou. It is not at all a counter to Venusaur, especially if I'm able to get Leech Seed up on it, because after Leech Seed damage, that extra sensory is going to be doing roughly 28% to me per turn, and that is nothing. So Mega Venusaur is now identified as the win condition for sure. And after that Synthesis, I'm sitting in very good shape. However, on this turn, he gets the critical hit. Now that was huge because I went for the Leech Seed here. And if I am able to hit this Leech Seed, then I'm okay. I'll be able to recover Venusaur, assuming that he doesn't get a flinch with his extra sensory on the next turn. However, I missed the Leech Seed. So that's going to be very, very bad, to say the least. That was most likely going to be the game. But I am going to save my Venusaur just in case he chokes later on in the game, knowing that Gyarados really isn't going to do anything at all at this point in the game. So I'm going to send it in here and basically sacrifice it. Now here I do have the Alakazam, and this is why it was crucial earlier that I had to burn my Focus Sash, because 2 Psychics from this Alakazam, I believe, will KO an Assault Vest Raikou. It might be a roll, but regardless, if I had my Focus Sash, I get 2 Psychics on this Raikou with no problem. However, because I have already burned my Focus Sash, I don't get that. Here he makes the switch into Greninja, which I guess is... It can be considered a good play, but I felt that it was the wrong play for him to make, because I can go for the Psychic here, and then you have to remember that I have the counter in Vaporeon, who also has access to Wish. So what I'm going to do on this following turn is just go straight into the Vaporeon, knowing that I can eat up whatever he wants to go for, and go for this Wish. He just goes for the Night Slash. It does a measly 31%. There's no problem there. But yeah, I'm going to go for the Wish on this turn, and the idea behind this is that he is no doubt either going to switch directly into Raikou or U-turn into Raikou. Regardless, I, barring a crit, will live that attack and get up the Wish. And with the amount of special defense investment I have on the Mega Venusaur, I actually am guaranteed to live a Volt Switch or Thunderbolt from the Raikou after Stealth Rock damage. So, with the Mega Venusaur, that is. So, I would theoretically be able to pass this Wish to the Mega Venusaur if he does not go for extra sensory on the Wish passing turn. So, he actually choked the game away by switching into the Greninja right here. However, he gets a critical hit with U-turn. So, for the 3rd time in this game, Hax has been victorious over me. So now I'm sadly out of options, and I'm just going to get swept by the Raikou here in a couple turns. So that was kind of a sad initiation to this league. However, I do believe that I played well, and I put myself in the position to win the game. However, RNG was too strong, unfortunately, in this particular game. So it was well played, though, overall by Razor and his squad that I forgot the name of, the New York Metangs. It was a fun game. I'm definitely excited to continue participating in this league. It's too bad we couldn't come out on top in this game, but you can't win them all. RNG will not always be in your favor, but I know this video is long, but I wanted to give a thorough analysis on this game because I thought it deserved it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you all in Week 2 against the defending runner-up, the Detroit Gale Wings. See you guys.